On this video clip, we're going to go over some panels that Jeanne created for a seasonal panel. Now, there are two side lights, and there were 6 panels on either side of the side light. So we decided that this would be a great opportunity, and the client agreed that we should make 12 different panels representing each of the months of the year. And so there's a lot of repetition here because we're actually going to show you the install of 6 of the 12 panels. The first thing I do is lay a bead of silicone on the inside of the frame. I've already fit the seasonal panel to that particular window opening, and that did fit in just right, and so I could start to put my silicone bead around the panel. Once I do that, then I can lay the glass right up into the silicone. And in order to ensure that it stays in place while I'm working with it, I got some fabric pins. And these fabric pins have 2 sharp points. They also are thicker than normal pins, and so they went into the wood frame fairly well. Now I'm laying them up in such a way that they'll be held. This there is a gap, but not a very big gap. So as I began to place them in, I found that I only needed to put a very small bead of the clear silicone, and I was able then to just run my fingers across the wooden frame, and that would give me a very good bead. One of the things that could have been a problem if we had built these windows wrong is that outside edge uses corded glass. But we were smart enough to turn the corded glass so that the smooth side is facing out, and that way we didn't put a bunch of silicone into the ridges of the corded glass. It is a little difficult to see what's going on right here, but because we move the camera around a little bit as we install the 6 panels that we're going to show you how we install, you'll get a feel for how it's done. But it's pretty much the same as any of these installations where we put the art glass over a tempered glass installation. Now, these tempered units are thinner than most tempered units. They were only about 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch thick. The client had to replace 2 or 3 of the bottom windows. And this is because there had been a dog in the house, and the dog had gotten up on the windows and scratched the glass on those bottom units. But this was a cost-conscious project, and so we felt like it would be better if we were to just simply replace those 2 or 3 panels on the bottom and overlay our glass so that she wouldn't have to replace the entire unit. The idea behind this whole project is that if you stand in their foyer and people from outside can see right into their house. So they didn't want to lose the light that's coming in, and so there's hardly any. Right now you can see that that's the January panel, and it's kind of a mountain type scene with some pine trees. Looks like something you might see in a January setting. And here's Jeannie taking a picture of that panel. And what will be fun is that at the end of the video, I'm going to do a little slideshow so that you can see each one of the panels. Jeannie is working right now on her second book of mandala patterns. These are mandalas for success. And after she's done with that, we think we'll do a seasons book, because we've had several occasions to go back and revisit the seasons. Now you can see that I'm starting to silicone in the second window. Of course, you don't see everything that I'm doing because I haven't moved the camera yet. But in a moment, we'll move the camera and you'll be able to see more of what's going on. And here we put the February panel in. So the way this works is it starts with January and it goes February, March, April, and so forth. And then we go back up to the top and start our way down on the other side. By the time we get to the bottom, we get to December, and it's pretty nice. It's a very nice set of panels. The lady who we did these for had quite a bit of input. She didn't want very much color at all, so mostly we went with textures. And so the two steps for putting these windows in is that first I make sure that the window fits. Then I bed the window into a very small layer of silicone, and then I use pins to hold it in place, and after that I smooth it out on the outside. I put that final seal and smooth that out. Now I'm using clear silicone. Sometimes on an install we will use the type of sealant that is made for bathtubs. But since this is an exterior installation and we're going to be dealing with heat and cold, quite a lot of difference, we want to have the best seal that we can. And another reason for using the clear silicone is that the silicone that is white and will turn clear sometimes does not work. I built a breezeway for stained glass students to be able to walk into our studio and be protected. And when I put the plastic together, I used that type of caulking that turns clear, and it didn't turn clear. And so I've got these big white lines running down my clear panels, and that's something that would have, it's okay in that particular instance, but if I was to do that on a professional install for a stained glass piece, then I would have to remove it all and start over. Here we are on the March panel. We've moved the camera a little bit. Jeannie's holding it. So there's a little bit of vibration, but it's really more clear. You're able to see what's going on. even though you might get a little bit seasick. And this is somewhat of a tulip pattern. In March, sometimes we have tulips popping out as early as March. And originally this was a little bit different. I think there were crocuses, but they worked together. The client and the designers worked together and came up with this pattern. So when you look through these windows, you'll see that there are some colors coming through, but mostly that is the color of the yard outside. So we've got 3 done. That's 1/4 of the way done. And as far as the video is concerned, we're half the way done, because we're just going to show the first 6. Now we go to the April panel.
Okay, let's see.
And I didn't want it to be too boring for you, but we reset the camera so that we can show this a little bit better. And in this April panel, she's got a butterfly, kind of a spring type theme going on here. And you can see the 2 pieces of the pin that I've just put in place, and that pin holds it. And you know, I really needed a pin in this particular instance, because the framework, the wooden framework that is holding, that these windows are going up against, has a rounded curve on it. And so it very easily could have fallen out if I didn't have something somewhat substantial holding it in place. A lot of times when we're doing an install, we have a nice crisp edge that the panel can sit on, and we don't have this rounded piece. Once the silicone is dry, then it'll stay in very well, because the rounded piece accepts the silicone and forms a wonderful gasket. But you know, it's just got to be held in place while it dries, and the silicone takes longer to dry than the caulking that we sometimes use. So here I am, just laying in that thin bed, and now I can put in my window. June panel. I decided here to smooth that out just a little bit more on the wood prior to laying my glass up. I have to keep my thumb that's covered in silicone up out of the way. Don't want to get it on the window accidentally. And here we go. Placing it. That's kind of a stylized tulip. Roll of toilet paper really comes in handy. It's a great tool for cleanup as you're, you know, wiping and cleaning and buffing. You know, it's designed to be thrown away. Here you can see how important that was, that if I'd had that texture of the corded glass, that would have been really, really difficult. But since it's nice and smooth, I can just pull it right off, and it's just wonderful that way. And this installation went very well. You know, the more the panels, the more frustrating the installation sometimes, because by the time you've installed 3 or 4 panels, your fingers just get covered with goo, and that's part of the necessity, keeping it all clean. And so here's our 6th panel, the last one we're going to show you how to install. You get the feel. And on these videos, I sometimes wonder if I'm showing too little or too much. But this shows you how I kind of put a little piece of cardboard in there for it to sit on, and then I put the pin to hold it up. And I didn't have to do a little piece of cardboard on every one, but on this particular one, it was just trying to come out of the framework. And it's because of that rounded edge. But you can see it fit in nice and tight. The glass actually goes over the edge that you could see. So there is a shadow line on the glass itself. And so we're covering over every bit of the opening, which I feel is very aesthetically pleasing. And here we are, January, February, March, April, May, June, it's a basket of flowers, July, roses, August, September, October, November, and then December. And if you look closely at those leaves, they've got really great veining. And there's the entire project finished. You can't really see everything, but it kind of gives you an idea as to what it's like.